Welcome to Life Sucks Radio. I'm your fucking host, Mike. I was originally going to start this week's show talking about being a dreamer, what your dreams are now, what they were as a kid, and if the two correlated well. But first, I'm really fucking pissed today. For all you cocksuckers out there that think that school teachers are lazy and spoiled and have too much free time off and the summer's off and they should be punished and evaluated and they should be cracked down upon. Fuck you. That's right. Fuck you. Because unlike you, I actually have a teacher as a spouse. So I know a little something about the profession. In fact, nobody knows teachers better than their husbands and wives, believe me. Something happened just this morning that just set me off. Oh my, where do I begin? Okay. Now, some of you by now know that my wife is a public school teacher. I'm not getting into much about her or where she works, but I will say this. She's a high school teacher. She just scored a 98 highly effective in the New York State's new bullshit APPR evaluation system. That is very impressive for those of you that don't understand what I'm saying. A 98 out of 100 highly effective is virtually unfucking heard of. And instead of being thanked or congratulated for this, days before the school year started, she was told through an email that the schedule she would be teaching for this year was completely changed. And now she's got an extra prep period. She's got 4 preps, meaning she's got 4, she teaches like 4 completely different classes, 2 of which she's never taught before, days before the school year starts. Instead of thanking her, saying congrats on doing so amazing, being in the top 0.5% of our district, we're going to totally screw you. And we also promised you that your schedule would not be altered like every summer like we do to you. This year, it's not going to be touched. You can count on your schedule. And days before, they fucked her over again. She didn't complain. She rolled up her sleeves and did what she always does. But now she's got a new boss. Guess what? This is her 7th department chair in the 9 years she's been teaching. That means she has had 7 different bosses at the head of her department in 9 fucking years, which means she has to start over from scratch with each one every single time. And of course, they never respect teachers. She's in a district like some of you who don't respect quality teachers and don't understand what it is they really do each day and night. Oh, you don't believe me? Teachers are spoiled? You complain? They get summers off with all that money. Let me tell you something, you little fucking cockwaffle. You think it's easy? How come you didn't go get a required master's degree? Why don't you go get a master's degree? Hell, go get a bachelor's first. Because she had to, by law, get a bachelor's and then had to get a master's degree on her dime while working full fucking time, in addition to separate New York State teacher certification, which is not easy to obtain. Oh, I'm forgetting something here, though. Oh, right, the actual job she does. You think it's easy having to babysit your little bastards every day? The kids that you spoil rotten? Do you think that's a fucking cakewalk for her? And yeah, there are a few bad teachers out there. Every district has their teacher who does something ridiculous. But you know what? So what? A few bad apples have to spoil the bunch, right? She has to pay the price because there were a couple of... And that's not even what's going on with her. In fact, in her district, the truth is, the teachers, the people that do a job, are the ones that are rewarded. Oh, it's true. If you don't do a great job, they'll promote you and you'll get to teach the easier upper level classes in the clouds. Why? Because they know you're less likely to cause a problem and fuck it up. That's in, at least in her district, that's what happens. So the teachers that do a job are the ones that are teaching all the senior level fucking classes and the college level classes. Because it's much, much easier to do compared to 9th and 10th grade, especially the tough regents level, which she has been pigeonholed in for years. But yeah, they get to teach the nice classes. And they strut their stuff too, these teachers. They walk around acting like they're hot shit. This is great behavior reinforcement. Given the top level classes that they don't deserve to teach, while the really hardworking and highly effective teachers are stuck in the pits and trenches every year. And the best part is, nobody understands what these people do. And she happens to work in one of the lower paying districts out here. And by the way, you want a statistic? You could check this fact. Teachers, by far, make the least amount of money of any profession requiring a master's degree. That's true. Teachers make the least amount of money out of all professions requiring a master's degree. But they get summers off. They have to, or else they'll shoot themselves. And I don't hear parents complaining that they get to... And then, you know what, though? Parents do complain about that. So Obama starts threatening making longer school years to compete with, like, Japan and stuff. And then parents go, what? You can't do that. We have to go on vacation. We're taking our spoiled little brat to fucking Disney this summer. You can't do that. I agree with you. Who's going to pay the teachers to fucking stay into the summer? They probably will get screwed and not get paid more. Who's going to, and their unions are usually pussies out here, at least in her district. So for all the money she pays in union dues every single year, they just keep their mouths shut and they're told to don't ruin your reputation. Just keep quiet and take it up the ass. And you're going to pay us more this year for that. Oh, I'm on a tear. And I know most of you don't even give a shit about this subject. You're probably just mildly amused by my behavior. But the truth is, don't you know anybody that you care about, that you're closest with? And aren't you sick of seeing that person come home at least 3 days a week, hysterical crying or shaking because of something that happened again? You think her job stops after 9th period? She has to stay after making parent phone calls because the guidance counselors don't have to do it. And because there's no accountability, so she's got to fucking call the parents, argue with them about stuff. Then she's got to come home. And, oh, you think she comes home and rests? She spends at least 2 to 3 hours every single night grading tests and papers and designing lesson plans that now are being evaluated. In fact, the APPR system means that in addition to the 2 observations that she's really being heavily graded on every year, where that means a boss walks in and sits in the entire period of a class twice a year, one of which is a total surprise. And that makes up like 60% of their fucking grade every year. 2 visits by administrators who want them out of the district anyway because they want to save money. If my wife left, they would lose an amazing, inspiring teacher. One of the good guys, a 98 highly effective teacher who everybody loves in that district. Somebody who is beloved by teachers, colleagues, parents, teachers, students. Everybody loves her. And if they lose her, you know what the fucking douchebag new superintendent would say? Okay, I'm a numbers person. I look at numbers on a spreadsheet to make my decisions. I micromanage my whole district like a retail store just by looking at spreadsheets. Oh, she's leaving? She was actually from our district. She came up in this community, excelled as a student in the highest levels she could have attained as a student, and then stayed here, the only job she even applied for as a teacher, and she's leaving. Oh, well, guess what? We'll get somebody for less money. That they run this district like McDonald's. Minimum wage? Oh, wait, so this guy that's been here for 5 years who's making $8.50 an hour at McDonald's, he's quitting? Okay, he did a great job, but you know what? Now we'll get somebody, for less money. That's what they see it as. You people don't value education anymore. And you know what's happening? You're falling into their plan. In New York State, you've got Cuomo, who I guess was voted in, even though he's a mafia gangster. But guess what? He did this. And nobody's opposing him. You don't want your Common Core for your kids? Well, hey, I agree. But how do you think this APPR thing's going to help your kids? The pressure, these teachers are walking on fucking eggshells in every way they could, every single day. And the ones who don't deserve to be walking on eggshells are getting hit the hardest. It's a thankless job. And believe me, I was a fucking terror as a student. I was a nightmare as a fucking student. You know that if you've heard the show. And yet I live with it. I know what it's like. I understand. It's horrible. And they're trying to they're getting rid of public education, at least New York State. They're forcing, this whole APPR thing is just forcing teachers into early retirement because they're already set in their ways and they're going, fuck this. And they're getting out while the getting's good. And in her district, they were even offered incentives financially to leave, like big money to get out. And they're also dissuading upcoming, like new teachers from getting into the profession because they want to privatize education. The state doesn't want to pay for this shit anymore. And neither do you. And you voted for your local tax cap because you figured that would help you save some money. It's not fair. These teachers get paid so much. They're being laid off in mass quantities still. These are real people, human beings. She knows teachers that were like 7 months pregnant and got laid off. And had a husband who was either out of work or in between jobs or just had a job that doesn't cover the bills. She watched teachers pass out and faint a few years ago when they got a pink slip. I mean, this is crazy out here. And if you don't like me bitching about shit, then why are you listening to a show called Life Sucks Radio? Oh, by the way, I earned my first dislike on YouTube last week. And I admit, last week's show wasn't my best. I was a little off. It wasn't very good, fine. But I got my first dislike on YouTube. Yes! That means people are reacting. And by the way, not to sound like a teenager, I promise you, it was somebody I know. It was probably one of my friends even. You gotta love the fucking internet. Even your friends are your fucking enemies and are internet trolls. Oh yeah, it's happening. So thank you for the dislike. That means you actually at least pay a fucking attention. Was I supposed to talk about being a dreamer today? Well, I could probably I'll make a segue. And yes, I'm just drinking bottled water, not alcohol again. And I'm still acting this way. But, so yeah, I feel really bad for teachers like my wife. Because unlike most people, not all of you, some of you are probably going, why are you attacking me? I love teachers. I love my teachers and I'm cool with it or I'm just indifferent. But some of you are like, fuck teachers. Oh, they should crack down on them. And they have to, my wife, she'll pretty much retire when she's like 55, I think. She'll have to work something like 55 or 35 years or something. Well, they should retire at 30 years. Oh, wait. But the post office worker gets to retire at 20 years? How does that make sense? He didn't get a bachelor's. He didn't get a fucking master's. I'm not saying it's an easy job. It sounds like it's a really fucking shitty job. And they're not treated very well from what I hear. And they don't get summers off. They don't get summers off. Okay, we're back to that again. Summers off. You know how my wife spends the last 3 weeks of summer miserable, anticipating what's ahead. It's almost like they might as well not have summers off because it hurts too much to go back. And yeah, your kids are fucking spoiled, okay? That's the real problem. You want to talk about accountability and public education, why our kids are really falling in the ranks globally? It's because unlike a lot of these other top countries, whether it's Switzerland or Japan or wherever, we're spoiling our fucking kids beyond belief. No, you're not supposed to hit your kids. No, you're not supposed to verbally abuse them and this and that. But you know what? Stop giving them sugar. Stop giving them fucking ice cream and candy. And don't give them those energy drinks for fuck's sake. Stop buying them fucking video games when they fail a test. Better luck next time. And I know some of you parents are going, I don't do any of this. I reprimand my kids. I discipline them. Maybe you do. Maybe you're one of the good guys. Hey, if you're listening to this show, you're probably not the dumbest person. You know, and if you like a show or identify with a show called Life Sucks Radio, there's a good chance you've been battered and humbled by life like me. So maybe you're a little more open-minded. That's possible. But I know there's always some kind of a fucking douche canoe listening who's going to say something like, I don't agree with this guy. I'm going to give him a dislike. I'm going to unlike or dislike him and unfriend him. I don't care. I love it. I don't get paid for this. I don't get sponsors. Some people send me music and I play it for free. That's fine. I'm happy to help. Fine. I'm a musician. We all know. Great. By the way, just to break this subject for a minute, U2 just put out a brand new album. It was like a surprise album, and they're giving it away free on iTunes. And now I'm not exactly promoting this right now, even though some of you are going, really? Free U2 album? I'm there. It's great for fans, I guess, but it's not good for hardworking musicians because what they're doing is perpetuating this idea that artists really don't need to get paid for their work. And the fans are also getting more spoiled now. And now we all know U2 can afford to give it away for free. And we also probably know that Apple is paying them for the promotion. But yeah, that's great because if now fans are going, wait, if I don't have to buy U2's album, what's considered the top, the biggest album release in history so far, why would I pay for some other indie artist or band's album? I shouldn't have to do that either. Or just do what my friends and family do with our music. Here's an idea. Don't support your friends and family or the bands you're a fan of. Just listen to it for free on Spotify. Do that, because that's what everybody's fucking doing. If not for my wife, I swear I would retire from music. I would just never fucking make a note again of music. I would probably just be a miserable writer. All right, I already said this last week about the writing. I'm done. So anyway, let's talk about being a dreamer, because teachers like my wife, she grew up as a dreamer. And she wanted to be a teacher, but that wasn't her real dream. She wanted to be a big singer, a professional. She wanted to be the next Celine Dion. And she could have been. She really could have been. And anyone who knows her knows that. Now, maybe it's partly my fault. I don't know. I've done everything on my power to help her get that dream and make a few bucks. But the truth is, she took the teacher job because she knew deep down she was good at it. She wanted to help benefit the future of this fucking country in any way she could, because that's what teachers do, right? If they're doing a good job, an effective teacher inspires the students beyond everything else. Because who really remembers, English or Spanish or math let's face it. They even say statistically that you lose 70% on average of what you learn in school. Now, in my case, it was probably more like 95%. But they say average of 70% of the material you learn in school goes out the fucking window by the time you're an adult. That's what they say. They say a lot. But her dream was to be a singer, and then she took the teaching job too because she was young and not even ripe yet. She figured, hey, I'll love doing this. On day one, she started screaming and turning gray because it's obviously very hard, but she had a dream in her heart. I did too. I wanted to be, when I was a kid, I either was going to be a famous musician or I wanted to be an actor. At one point, I was going to be a jewel thief. I was going to I had a dream of being a jewel thief or a bank robber or something, and I probably should have stuck with that. Really, I should have stuck with that. But yeah, what do you want? What are your dreams? Do you people have dreams? Did you once have a dream in your heart that you held so dear growing up? When your parents told you to be that unique snowflake and go for your dreams, and like my wife said a while back on the show, and as you get older, the moment you start to hit high school, all of a sudden it's like, you know what, do the dream thing, do what you love just because you love to do it on the side, but now you gotta forget that shit that we instilled in you growing up, and now you're just gonna be a fucking asshole, a working stiff like the rest of us, and just take the paycheck. Now, I could see as I'm getting older, and when we're planning to have a kid, one, soon, and we're going, one's enough. I want to spoil the shit out of this kid, but teach him good manners. I really want to teach this kid right from wrong and to be a humble, good person. Discipline him when needed. No, I'm not going to throw his TV through his face, but like I'm saying, like just maybe take away the TV for a week or two, But I'm a little concerned too about this whole thing. What do you do with your kids? Like you want them to go for their dreams and aim high. You want them to have a better life than you have. But you're also, as a parent, you're afraid, right? You're like, well, I don't want them to fail. I don't want them to have to struggle. And man, if somebody was there to tell me or to guide me to say, when you go to college, don't choose liberal arts. It does not give you a broad sense of options, like my mother tried to tell me, right? Like, just start with liberal arts so you can try different things. No, by 11th grade, by your junior year of high school, you should already have a sit down with your kids, and they should talk to you about maybe some ideas. Get some kind of a fucking game plan of what they're going to do, because it's hard right now. I've got Christina's students. You know what they do? They ask her every day, when they're not asking her about the Illuminati, actually, which she's not allowed to talk about, unfortunately. But instead, she'll talk to them about future careers, and they'll say, well, what about being a teacher? And she doesn't want to lie to them. She tells them it's very hard right now to get a job as a teacher. And if you do happen to land a job as a teacher, you're going to be on thin ice. You're always going to look over your shoulder that you're doing the wrong thing or that you're going to get a pink slip and be laid off. But if you do want to be a teacher, hey, if that's your dream, you go for it. You go ahead. But she also has to tell them it's very fucking hard to do. There's not a lot of jobs in it anymore. And all the private schools, guess what? They're taking all the public school teachers that lost their jobs. But anyway, some of them say, well, I don't know. I don't even want to. My parents have plenty of money. I don't have to go to school. I don't have to do shit. My parents are rich. Because there's one area of her district that is loaded and the other area is complete shit. It's weird how it worked out over there. But anyway, and she says, oh, that's good. So you don't have to work. Your parents are rich. What happens when they no longer care for you? When they can no longer take care of you? What then? You obviously don't have the work ethic and whatever it is your parents had in them to become so successful. And that's also not my opinion or her opinion. If you've ever read The Millionaire Next Door or the Millionaire Mind series, it's a great book or audio series. It's great. And it's all factually based on statistics of people who come from rich families and what likely will happen to them as a second generation coming from wealth. And by and large, they blow it. Kids who have wealthy families and were raised as a rich snob usually end up blowing the money fast because they don't have it what their parents had in them. That's a fact. And yes, most millionaires also don't drive Ferraris and Lamborghinis and live in mansions. Most millionaires, you wouldn't know it, actually, because they're driving new Honda Accords. Some of them have Beamers and stuff, but most of them drive nice new hybrids or whatever, and they have regular houses in your neighborhood, and they're just frugal or cheap, so you really wouldn't know the difference. And they're not stupid! Yeah, they make up the bulk of the rich people that you allegedly fucking hate. Where am I going? All right, so what is your dream? What was your dream as a kid, and did you reach it? Did you give up on it? At what point did you give up on it? At the first hurdle? Did you maybe not get the part in the school play so you never acted again? Did you, like me, where you wanted to be a famous musician, and then, after you didn't get an audition or maybe like a couple of rounds of gigs where nobody gave a shit that you were in the room, did you just hang up your hat and that was it? Did you take the job in the office cubicle where you're treated like dirt right after fucking high school or college? Did you even try? I don't know. I did. I still am. And I'll tell you, it's hard. I'm fucking miserable, as you can see most of the time. That's not true. Part of this show is a character. I mean the shit I say, but my presentation isn't always this way. When I walk around on the street, I'm not acting this way. You know what I mean? Usually. I'm actually a very nice, laid-back person. I think I've said that before, but the best part of hosting a podcast called Life Sucks Radio is if you are upset, there's no better therapy on earth besides maybe drinking or smoking or whatever than doing this. Because I happen to be when I woke up this morning, I'm going, I don't have a lot to talk about on the show today. I'm going to hit on the whole being a dreamer bit and the pros and cons of it. But I got to make up for last week where I was just kind of tired and out of it and I didn't put a lot into it. What am I going to talk about? I'll just wing it. And then all of a sudden I get a phone call from my wife from school crying her eyes out because somebody fucking pulled her aside and started telling her they want her to do this, and that differently, even though she got a fucking 98 highly effective. She's a much better teacher than her new boss, who just became a boss this just a few weeks ago, who was a teacher up until this point and did not score a 98 highly effective. And you can't rig it. It's not like my wife likes the APPR evaluation system. She hates it, and yet she still excels at it. You can't rig it. It works against teachers. So yeah, she's got someone just because they have seniority. So this person has seniority, so she's calling the shots and is telling my wife what she's got to do differently, even though she has been championing this program in her department for years. She runs circles around everybody. And everybody fucking knows it. But you got the superintendent, the micromanager, the numbers woman. Oh, she's cutthroat. She's perched on her little mountaintop going, ooh, I'm going to cut this job. I'm going to cut this job. Let's see, what are the numbers in this class? Ooh, we're going to cut programs. Let's cut. We're going to increase class sizes. If we get rid of these teachers, we can grow the class size by this percentage where it won't be too much to piss off the parents, and we can lay off teachers, and then we're going to cut programs. There's no spring play anymore. My wife used to direct the spring play. They cut it without warning, without a vote. Gone. It didn't make enough money. First of all, it wasn't about the money that it brought in. It was about providing a quality experience for the students, for the kids who will never forget it. Are you kidding me? My wife had students in that spring play she directed for years. She had kids that had no friends when they started out. They had no self-esteem, no confidence. They were miserable. They were loners. They were whatever. And by the end of the play, they were so happy and lively and had friends. They were popular. And that changed the course of their future. She kept in touch with some of them and went on to college who thank her and praise her to this day, who know full well what she did for them. And they cut that program like nothing. It didn't really generate enough revenue. You know what would have helped bring in money, by the way? Maybe if the week of the fucking opening night of the play, perhaps if you didn't decide the week of that you were going to suddenly throw the play instead of the high school auditorium, you were going to throw it in an elementary gym or auditorium the other time in a different school. And then you were going to decide to have the play, change it to a Thursday night at 6 p.m. Can you imagine? I wonder why it didn't make money. There were no tickets. Why? She only made like $2,000. She only raised around $2,000 for the show, which is actually not bad. But at 6 o'clock at night at dinner time on a Thursday in the wrong school, that's what's happening. The people that are running school districts, like companies, are losers. They're fucking cunts who fucking failed as teachers. Why do you think these administrators become who they are? What makes a teacher become an administrator? You think they want to be better and do a better job to serve their community? Because it's better for the kids that they're making the superintendent makes around $220,000 a year. That's not an exaggeration, actually. $220,000 a year. You think she did that? She took that. She went for the certification program as an administrator for a year and a half. You think they go through that for the kids? No, it's because they fucking hate teaching. They're not very good at it as teachers. So they become administrators to stay in the field and to make more money and, yes, have more job security. Because when's the last superintendent job cut that you've heard of? Doesn't happen. God damn it, I'm still on this. Anyhow, I don't know what else to say today. We're talking about a lot of things here. My dreams, was it worth it? I don't know. If I can go back in time, would I have done music again? It's hard. I'm in a different position than some people because my wife is a great singer. There's a lot of responsibility that goes with her voice quality and her talent as a songwriter. And I'm a songwriter too, but I could have given it up if it were just me. I probably wouldn't have done music again. I probably would have made a bunch of horror movies. And I did make a feature horror movie that people go off on, but I did make some money. But anyway, yeah, music is a tough racket. Teaching is a tough racket. Any of the arts you could fucking forget about making money in today. It's really not easy to do. Thank you too, for, fueling the fire with that. But yeah, take our album for free. Musicians don't deserve to get paid. You know what's going to happen too after this episode? I'm probably going to get a bunch of responses. And I love when I get responses. And I'm probably going to start getting people, either they're going to agree with me about public education and what teachers go through, or they're going to start going, yeah, but we had a teacher in my district who fucking touched the kids. Yeah, and that person should have gotten in trouble for that. In fact, your administrators are pieces of shit for not fucking doing a better job interviewing people. Like, what can I say? Like, yeah, there are bad people in public education. Like, okay, my wife's not one of them. And there are other great teachers in her district. So it's not like she's the only one, hanging the fucking flag and championing being a great. No, there's a lot of great teachers in her district, all of which are underpaid for what they do. You know what I think should happen? This is total brain fart. I think everybody should work 4 days a week, not 5, 4 days. Monday should be off every week. You have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. And everybody should have summers off, which unless you're under the age of like 25 or something, maybe 21. When you're in high school and in college, you should be the one doing the fucking shitty jobs. You should work the retail jobs. You should work in the restaurants. So unless you're like a doctor or a cop or, like something emergency type of thing where you have to do it, kids should be doing it. Right? Now that's another fantasy. I've been doing this a lot lately. And there's going to be, I'm going to get the fucking dipshit that's going to go, yeah, but what about this, man? You didn't account for global warming. Like, I don't care. My fucking show. I don't have to make sense all of time. Do I have music to play today? Yes, I do. So chime in. Instead of just being a fucking pussy coward and disliking everything I say, you could do that too. It's fine. It tells me people are listening, and actually being moved in one way or another by what I'm saying. But like, get involved a bit. Don't reiterate what I say. You don't have to agree with me. And I don't have the money or budget to have phone calls at this point, but just chime in. I'm not going to be doing this show forever, by the way, because I did start my own business again. And this type of show may not be good for gaining clientele. It's the type of business where you kind of have to maintain a positive leadership type of attitude. And that's not really what this is. So I might eventually go back to hosting a music show like I used to do. Or I might not. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. But let me know what you think. Talk to me. Oh, and by the way, before I do play music, when it comes to voting, now I'm not somebody who believes that we elect our leaders, at least the presidents and stuff. I don't believe we do. I think the whole fucking thing is a sham. But in the event that I'm wrong, at least at the local level, don't vote your party. If you're a Republican, don't just, hit the switch for all the Republican guys. At the local and the state level, like, make sure you know what it is they plan on doing. So gangsters like Cuomo don't just help destroy public education. Because I could be wrong about my little conspiracies, but you know what? But make sure you don't just vote because it's your party, your favorite team. There's no nobility in that. All right? Because you don't want Common Core. I fucking agree with you. These kids, some of them are too young to even wipe their fucking noses. There's got to be a balance here. And as far as the money, don't even get me started with the money in New York State right now, because there is none. That's why they did all this. Because of money. That's the truth. And by the way, Joan Rivers passed away this past week. I think it was murder. I think she was sacrificed. I could be totally fucking crazy on this, but you know what? Go start doing research on the whole Michelle Obama is a guy thing. I'll keep you busy if you're bored. Hey, there's nothing better on. So I leave you this week with a full album. Yes, I am not being a hypocrite. I know I did the whole U2 thing before, but you sound like you can download the podcast. And even if you could, it'd be kind of pathetic of you to try to splice the music portion of this away from the rest of it. Anyway, I'm giving out some good props to the band Conan, or Conan. I say Conan because I don't want to think of Conan O'Brien when I listen to this awesome album. It is called Horseback Battle Hammer. See you next week.